Welcome, everyone, to It Tastes Different Gaming Appetizers. Do you know what this world doesn't need more of? Doesn't need more of EA. Even EA had enough to do with enough of John Riccitiello. But John Riccitiello, who is now the CEO of Unity, basically is insulting game developers who don't think about making money as their first priority. So, John basically in a recent little, I don't even know if this is an interview or whatever it was, but he basically came out and said some pretty shitty stuff. I mean, about basically what he exactly said was the people who don't implement monetization systems early on, they are the most beautiful and pure and brilliant people, but they're also some of the biggest fucking idiots. And I'm like, that's like EA to the T, right? If monetization is not your first priority, then you're an idiot. And this guy we all know that companies look at money first. We don't need to be reminded of that every time we turn around by some rich douchebag, you know? We don't need to be reminded of that. I wonder if that was even too much for Electronic Arts. That's why they told that's why the CEO left. They weren't focused enough on monetization for him. And if that was too much for EA, holy crap, we're in trouble. It seems really weird that somebody would just come out on an open platform and say stuff like that. We, as consumers, hopefully everybody's not dumb enough to think that companies are out there for your behalf. They're out there for their behalf. There are, and don't get me wrong, there are people out there developing games who are developing stuff because it's what their vision of a game is. It's what they love. It's what they want people to play their vision, right? Their thing that brings them joy in life. They want people to play that and see that. But those people are not the majority, right? All the AAA titles that we get out there are built by teams of people driven by money. The individual people on that team may not be driven by money, but the game that AAA studio is pumping out is driven by money, and that is one of their highest priorities. Gameplay, whether you love the game or not, doesn't really appeal to them. They hope you love it, so more people will buy it, but they're wanting to put out a game that they're able to earn more money on than what they pump into it. So by them talking about, monetization strategy, it's like, how are we going to monetize this game? How can we make it more than a one-time purchase in this game? Which is going to be the downfall of the gaming industry. If anything will be the downfall, will be these greedy companies that have to, instead of making money on just the initial game release, figure out how they can make money on the game release 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, 8 months, a year, 2 years plus down the road. How can I make more money? And that's what's going to be the downfall of the gaming industry. And people like John Riccitiello, whatever his name is, that's going to be the downfall of the video game. I don't see how he even thinks that it's okay to point stuff out and just be so callous in anything. Wow, is all I could say. Shane, what do you think, man, about John and him voicing his opinion that we all know is true? We just don't need some rich guy telling us that this.
Yeah. I gave him an A for honesty of being a complete piece of shit. Pardon my language. I'm trying to keep this somewhat PG, but people like this just really just disgust me. He also said, and this is what makes me more furious than anything. He claims that he appreciates the classic one and done payment system that video games used to have. I know their dedication and care. He said about the developers who still stick to this model. But then he calls them biggest fucking idiots. I have, it's hard to even have words for such a garbage sack of assholes that this dude is. I mean, yes, it is about money. To a point, you have got to stop. I mean, you just got to. It's becoming this way in everything. BMW is wanting to freaking charge subscriptions to heat your ass and steering wheel. I mean, is this where we have gotten? I mean, where I got to pay somebody a monthly subscription to heat my balls in the winter. I mean, this is pathetic. And it's because of scumbags like this John sack of shit Rotello, whatever his name is. It's people like him that are ruining the things that we do care about. Games. It's people like him making the worst decisions for games. It's people like him that take a great franchise and destroy them because he cannot find a way to make more money on it. Games should be about entertainment and fun. The people who make those games should be able to make a living making those games. But there comes a point when you got to say, holy crap, this is enough. I mean, the DLCs are getting ridiculous. Microtransactions are beyond ridiculous. NFTs now are the big thing, you know. And the game prices are going to $70 for most developers. When is it enough for you people? I mean, when? It's not like you're losing money. You're not. You are just milking the cow. And that's it. That's one reason I think phone games are becoming so popular and prevalent, because most are free, but they hit you on the microtransactions. You know, game developers like Naughty Dog, who put out amazing single player games, story driven games. That's what gamers want. That's what keeps Sony in their sales position, because they have right now the best single player games and the best exclusive games, and all their big exclusives are single player. I mean, yes, some of them may have a multiplayer component to it, but that's not what they're known for. Oh my God, I'm really trying to stay PG, because the more Pat talked about it, the more I listened to it, the more angry I got. I mean, like, I just want to Hulk smash his groin, you know, just people like this are what's wrong with the world. And I hope he gets his nuts caught in a Cuisinart. Nick, your turn before I just lose my shit.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a, you know, he talks about that he remembers, you know, he likes those or he can understand those developers who put love and dedication to that single payer type of system, you know, one and done type of thing. And they put a lot of, he can see the dedication and love, and that's in the care for that product. And I mean, and that's the thing, right? When you think about monetization first, what's missing from the game? Love and care and dedication to the game. Now you have a game that only prioritizes making money. And so when you play it, you're like, it's fine, but you know, there's not a lot of passion behind it. But when you play those one and done games, those ones that just come out, you buy it, that's it. You can tell the amount of just love and passion they put in and dedication they put into this game. Turtles, the Shredder's Revenge that just came out. I mean, that's a one and done, right? You can get Casey Jones. Casey Jones is not a DLC. He's just unlocked after you play through the story. That's how it used to be, right? And they might come out with DLC for that game. Right now they don't have any, but you can tell that wasn't their intention. Their intention was to make an awesome Ninja Turtle beat 'em up game, and they did, right? And so you can tell when those developers put that love and care into a game, they make an awesome game that you want to continue to support that developer. But when those developers come out and make this monetized pile of crap, Babylon's Fall, we're looking at you, buddy. You know, that's a good instance of a game that thought about money more than it thought about anything else. And it was its downfall, right? And there's a lot of games that are like that. But it's also games that come out like Diablo Immortal that are piles of shit that make a lot of money, right? And that's the problem, is those people, those gamers out there, the whales or whatever, that go in and they dump a ton of cash into the game, do monetization, and that gives the companies the A-OK to continue doing these practices. You know, and that's why I feel like for a lot of us, you know, we still play these games by big developers and stuff like that. But, you know, in the last few years, especially, I find myself playing a lot more indie titles, because the more indie titles, I feel like there's a lot of love and dedication. These are up and coming developers, and all they want to do is make an awesome game. They're not worried about money or anything like that. Sure, they want to make money off the product, but they're not there to nickel and dime the shit out of you. They're there to offer you an awesome gaming experience. And if you want to, if they do include some DLCs, some extra items, and you want to buy them, cool. But if not, whatever. The main game is there, and the main game is awesome, right? And so that's why I'm like, I like those more, because the other ones, I feel like the big budget titles, not all of them, but a lot of them are kind of going in that direction where they think about the monetization first and build a game around that, instead of building a game, and hopefully not thinking of monetization at all, but if they want to, thinking of monetization after the fact. In the article there, he talks about kind of what Pat said, making one game that lives on forever through monetization, right? It's not that that game's good. It's maybe it's a live service title or whatever the case may be, but basically just Dead or Alive, like what is it? Dead or Alive 5 or 6 is a great example of monetizing the shit out of a game. Everything in that game is monetized. Like everything, like pressing start's monetized. Like, I mean, it's not, but I mean, it might as well be as much monetization in that game. If you go and look on the add-ons for that game, it's like 5 pages of crap that they have sold. And it's just like, this is insane. Dead or Alive used to be a great game. Dead or Alive 3 is still one of my favorites. And that was a one and done title. And then, 4 was okay. But then once they got to 5 and 6, it was just, let's just monetize the crap out of them. And what sucks too is the lead, and you can see how it's going that way, because the lead, I was reading an article the other day, the main developer of Dead or Alive had left Team Ninja a while back and went on to make his own gaming company, and he's making a NFT blockchain game called Warriors. And that's, so you could tell, like, by 5, his whole mentality was making money, and that was all that was. And so he split off from Team Ninja to make his own company, to make a game called Warriors about some robots or something that it's all about blockchains, NFTs, and crypto, right? I mean, that guy just went from making some cool games to just, following the money, basically. And that's what sucks. And that's exactly what Pat was saying. That's where the industry's, the big portion of the industry is headed. It's just that bottom line, making that profit, and that's it. And, for Shane's question of how much do you need, there is no bottom to that barrel for them, right? They can have all the money in the world and still want more. There is no end to that greed. And yeah, that'll be the downfall of that could be the downfall of gaming. And that could be a downfall of a lot of things, though, because it seems like a lot of society is going that way. We talked about BMW. I mean, what's next, right? What's next? If BMW is successful with this, which I hope they're not, but if they're successful, just get ready. Get ready for more things to be monetized to just the 10th degree. Like, you want to go see a movie, you got to, it's expensive enough to go see a movie, but now you got to, after 30 minutes, you got to pay more money to continue watching the film, right? It's like, it's going to be something like that. It's going to be as ridiculous as that stuff. But us as payers and us as people that buy these things, the consumers, we have to put a stop to this stuff. We have to say, no, you're not having my money. Because if they can't make money off it, they're going to stop doing it. But we got to stop. Unfortunately, it seems like too many people are addicted to that game. And that's what's feeding into all these companies doing what they're doing. Pat? What do you think?
I mean, it seems so stupid, right? And really, what's really bad is for the owner of an engine, Unity, to be talking, or CEO, whatever, owner, CEO of Unity, CEO of any company, just coming out and telling everybody what we already freaking know, for the most part. I hate that to no end. It's like, yeah, we know it, but you don't need to rub it in our face that that's what you're doing. And that's what he is doing. He's really going, this is the future and you could do nothing about it, except for I can do something about it. It's called never buying a game pushed out by any of your studios, because they bought like Weta Digital and Iron Source with their plans to basically grow massively in the microtransaction arena. And to which I say, hopefully a choke on it and you don't make a dime out of it. is what I hope. I hope you put out some garbage because you think Diablo Immortal is a thing to follow after, and you put out some no-name game that nobody's heard of with the same system as Diablo Immortal, and they just look at you like you grew 3 heads. Diablo Immortal, in my opinion, did so well because of Diablo. Nothing else. If that game would have came out as Wetland Wonderworld or something crappy, nobody would have played it, or it would have been nowhere near as popular as it is. I mean, it got its fan base because of Diablo, a pre-existing IP. And in my opinion, Blizzard hurt that IP more than they helped it with this game. We will see. We will see with the next iteration of Diablo how much they microtransaction the hell out of that game. And I love current Diablo. I play it. New seasons come out. I jump in and check it out. They release a new class. You know, it's been a while since I did all this stuff. The new class, I jumped in and checked it out. But if when I get in and I need to get the items from a season to progress the season and I got to pay microtransactions, that game has no longevity for me anymore. It's like I enjoyed the seasons in Diablo because it didn't cost me anything. I already had the game and the seasons came around and it's cool. I can, if I progress far enough in the season, I get some cool avatar icons around. I get cool icon rings and stuff like that around my avatar. I get wings and cool little things to make my characters look cool and everything. I don't have to pay a dime for that. And that's cool to me. But if it came out to the point to where now I have to pay to get chances for greater rifts or the greater rift components and things like that, I am all against that. So I will not participate in Diablo. I will not play it. I will play the game single player, and that's all you're getting out of me if it's good. You know, I'll have to an extent where I am done with them. I will not purchase any more stuff from them because I am not going to be their microtransaction cash cow. It's just not my type of thing to get into, and that's what I'm afraid of. I'm afraid of the next Diablo is going to be, it's a $60 or $70 game, but we're also going to microtransaction it.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. The only way they got what they got was the name Diablo. If they'd just took the name Diablo off and called it Immortal, it wouldn't have done an eighth of what they did. So it's, it sucks. It just sucks so bad that this is where our games are going. And me, I'm great with DLC as long as what I bought previously was a complete package. It's a good story, beginning to end, great gameplay. That's great. And then they want to give me a secondary story on the end of it. No problem, as long as it's worth the money. It's worth that extra $20 I pay for it. I don't do DLC very often, and when I do, it's got to be something I really feel strongly about. But this chode of a human being is what's killing our pastime. It's what's killing our passions. So, before we go, voodoo curse on him. So that's all I got.
Yeah, I don't get it, man. Why would you even come out in public and say something just so asinine like this? I mean, I don't get it. It's like, of course we know this. We just don't need you to remind us of this every time we turn around. We see it in our day-to-day lives and everything. But this guy thinks that whatever he got to say is far from approach, I guess. But hopefully everybody else roasts this guy for that. And hopefully Unity's like, oh, man, this guy's toxic to our company. Let's get rid of him before he brings us down. Because in my opinion, everybody should be looking at this guy and be like, that's the leadership of Unity. Do you want any part of that? Do you want that engine in your environment? Do you want that toxicity in your environment? That's what I would say. Because I would say, no, I don't want that toxicity. We know it's there. We just don't need anybody telling us that it's there. Don't we? Everybody reminding us that it's there. We see it day to day. And all I can say is to gamers out there, vote with your wallet. Stop spending your damn money on these mobile games that don't give you anything. I mean, buy the game. If Diablo came out on mobile and it was like a $10 game and you got everything you wanted, cool. I'm game. Buy it. I would have bought it. But the way that they hook you is they're like, there's a 99-cent transaction here. There's a $5 transaction here, $10 transaction there. Oh, this one is $20. There's a $20 microtransaction there. Oh, there's another 99-cent one, another $5 one, another 99-cent one. Before you know it, you racked up a couple $100 bill, or let alone $1,000 if you're not paying attention. You know, it's easy to do, but you got to be conscious about where you're spending your money and how you're spending your money on games. You know, I'm even struggling these days with buying all digital games because I'm afraid of game preservation stuff, where if I want to play this game years down the road, I won't have it. At least with physical, I had something. But these games are all microtransactioning the hell out of everybody, and they're going to keep doing it because Diablo Immortal is a perfect example, making $24 million in like a first couple of weeks or whatever. That's cash cow for them now. I'd like to see what they're doing now. I'm pretty sure I would laugh my ass off if I looked at it now. They're like, yeah, we're struggling to make $1 million, and then we're struggling to make 1,000. We got to shut this thing down. I'd laugh to see it shutting down within a year. But that's just me. You guys got anything else you want before we shoo the CEO out the door?
Nope. When you push him out, make sure he hits his nut on a doorknob.
Yeah. The only thing I want to say is, you know, you were saying, you know, that he comes out and says something like this, and you got to think that Unity is like the indie engine, right? It's the engine for indies, and you especially don't want someone for that. I mean, Unity is also used in big, you know, budget games, and it's also, you know, some indies use Unreal and stuff like that. But when you look at Unity and you think about it, you think of it as the indie engine, right? Because that's most indie games start out on Unity. So, you know, you don't want to you wouldn't want to have that kind of look for an engine that's supposed to bring in a community of young developers, to tell them that, like, if they don't monetize off the set, whatever passion project they have, they need to actually scrap it and think about monetizing the crap out of it, and then build your passion project around that monetization. And that's really the bad way to go with that. And that's something I would think hopefully Unity doesn't want put out there as like, we're more about money than more about helping indies bring their games to life, right? Because that's the whole kind of, even if you download Unity on your PC, that's kind of the whole aspect, and go to their website and stuff like that. It's kind of the whole trend of their, you know, what their statements and what they want to say. So, yeah.
Can you imagine a lot of these indie games with microtransactions? Let's just take one of our very favorite ones made by the smallest imaginable team ever, Phasmophobia. You need the Wraith? That's 99 cents from each player that's playing in this game. Oh, you want a flashlight? That's 99 cents. Oh, you need a candle or a smudge stick? That's 99 cents. Oh, you want the parabolic a microphone? That's $10. You know, it's so stupid to think of a game like that. It's like, give me the complete game or don't give me any game at all. I'd prefer that. If you're going to microtransaction it to me, just don't give it to me. Give me the full game. Don't give me any game at all. But that's just me.
Yeah. And the developers of Phasmophobia have talked about microtransactions, but what they basically said to that is, we want to complete the game completely, and then we'll think about that. And if we did do it, it would just be like cosmetic items for your dudes and stuff like that, your characters and stuff, to change out like their outfits and various things like that. So it's like, that's a good way to look at it. Like, if you go ahead and make your game and then you finally release it and it's fully done and fully exactly what you want it to be, you know, you still do updates, but you pretty much got the content you want, then sure, if you want to sell cosmetics or something like that to kind of keep that stability, by all means go for it. But, you know, that's thinking the other way around, right? They built a passion project, a game they wanted to build. And then if you want to think about monetizing it in a bit later on down the line, then sure, you can do it that way and do it right? Don't monetize candlesticks and parabolic mics and stuff like that. You know, if you want to make like cosmetic monetizations, that's cool, right? If somebody wants to buy a tuxedo for their character for 99 cents or something, you know, have at it. You know, that's fine. I don't mind those types of things, because those are all just optional, and you don't need cosmetics unless you want your guy to look like Santa Claus or something like that. You know, certain outfits can definitely take away from the immersion of the game, but as long as you don't make some immersion breaking outfits, then, you know, all for it. But
I'm going to go in there in a leather outfit, a ball gag, and a mohawk. We're going to go hunt ghosts, let's say.
Oh, God, I thought you were talking about Mario. Okay, that's fine.
Yeah. So let us know what you guys think. What do you think about Mr. John, Unity CEO, coming out and just basically blasting everybody who doesn't think of money first when they're making their game or their passion project? What do you think? Let us know what you think. And like, you've listened to this episode already this far, make sure you're subscribed. If you're not, like I said, you've already listened this far, you might as well subscribe. Help us out. Like the video, share the video. And as always, we love to hear your comments. We love to read them. We like to interact with everybody. And as always, we hope you enjoyed this episode, and we hope to catch you in the next one.
See ya.